All right. So today we're going to be going through the nervous system anatomy for general anatomy and physiology. All right, so here we see the brain. Okay, so this top wrinkly part, this is the cerebrum. Okay, so that's half of your brain. That's a hemisphere. Now the hemisphere is going to be broken up into the different lobes. We have the frontal lobe, we have the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, the temporal lobe. Now the insula is in here on this lateral fissure, but we can't see it. Now the frontal lobe is separated from the parietal lobe by this large crevice right here, known as the central sulcus. And so this right here is going to be your motor cortex, right? Somatic motor cortex. Behind that is going to be the somatosensory cortex. Okay, so we call this the precentral gyrus, and this the postcentral gyrus. Now, here we can see the cerebellum. Now, if we turn the inside and look on the inside of our hemisphere, we can see the corpus callosum, which connects the two hemispheres, allows them to communicate. We can see this central area, this round area here, which is the thalamus. This little triangular area below it, known as your hypothalamus. Now, from the bottom here, we would typically see a pituitary hanging, but we don't see that on this model. Now, this little pink kind of rounded structure right above the number 8, that's going to be your pineal gland. Okay, then we have the pons, this large bulbous area, and then this is the medulla oblongata. Now, here we can see the central canal coming down to the fourth ventricle, and from there it goes down into the central canal of the spinal cord. And that's how the CSF would flow from the brain to and then around the brain and spinal cord. Here we see the cerebellum, we see the white matter. The white matter of the cerebellum known as the arbor vitae. Now we look at the spinal cord anatomy. Okay, here again we can see that central canal. That's where CSF would flow from the fourth ventricle. And then that's going to go down and then out and around the brain and spinal cord, seen here in this area known as the arachnoid layer or subarachnoid space. Now when we look at the spinal cord, we can see there's white matter on the outside, gray matter on the inside. Now, the gray matter represents cell bodies and synapses and interneurons, little association fibers. The white matter is where we see myelinated fibers. Okay, so gray matter is non-myelinated. White matter is myelinated fibers. Now in the brain, we saw white matter on the inside, just like the arbor vitae. If we look at the cerebrum, white matter is on the inside, gray matter is on the outside. That outer half inch or so, that would be the cortex. Now, when we look at the spinal cord, we have these spinal nerves. We have 31 pairs of spinal nerves which come off the spinal cord. Now, when we look at the origination of these, we have the ventral root, which is motor, and we have the dorsal root, which is sensory. Okay, both of them are going to form our spinal nerve. Now, one way to delineate or differentiate between the two is to look for this. Okay, this right here, this large distension, that's going to be the dorsal root ganglion. Okay, so these are the cell bodies of the sensory neurons that are forming the dorsal root. Now ganglion, okay, the ganglion here, this is where we see cell bodies and synapses. This is gray matter in the peripheral nervous system. Now, the brain and spinal cord will always be layered with meninges, so this outer layer, this first layer right on top of the brain and spinal cord, that's the pia mater. The second layer out is going to be the arachnoid mater, number 16. And then the third layer is going to be this